There's a time and a place for a fillet of fish. But breakfast is for sausage biscuits. McDonald's breakfast comes first. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Caloroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with 5 good news stories. Hey, remember those just awful floods in Texas? One group, the Lost Stuffy Project, is trying to make it at least a little bit better. Some of the campers had brought along stuffed animals. One girl had brought a stuffed brown dog she'd named Ruff Ruff. Another had a pink poodle blanket. She had called her Guppy. There were stuffed lambs, monkeys, bears. The Lost Stuffy Project is trying to bring every small measure of comfort possible to families affected by the flood by replacing the stuffed animals and blankets and other comfort items. The girl who had Ruff Ruff had been evacuated from the camp by helicopter. When she left her cabin, she was clutching the dog, but somewhere in the chaos, Ruff Ruff was lost. The girl's mom later contacted the Lost Stuffy Project, asking if there's any way they could help. The mom said she'd had the stuffed animal since she was a baby. Lost Stuffy Project went to work. They posted a photograph of Ruff Ruff on Instagram. The group figured out the brand, Gund, and the name of the dog by brand, Mutsy. Internet sleuths went out to track down a replacement and say they were able to return the dog to the family in under 2 days. Randy Jaffe is the founder of the Lost Stuffy Project and said, "I've worked with kids and families in horrific situations for about 15 years. In those situations, she kept returning to the idea of returning a child's most treasured comfort item. The group aims to find the best possible replacement. New is ideal, but sometimes impossible. Sometimes the only options are well-worn replacements." They work with a volunteer in Michigan who does a stuffy rehab. That person does a deep cleaning, replaces the insides any holes, and does a full makeover before it's returned to the family. Switching gears, scientists have found that plants make a series of sounds to indicate they're under duress. Certain animals can actually hear the sounds. There's a genus of moths known to lay its eggs on the leaves of the tomato vine so that the larvae have a food source when they emerge. Scientists at Tel Aviv University performed a series of trials to see if this would lay their eggs on plants which were making sounds. The hypothesis would be that if moths could hear the sound, they might avoid laying their eggs on the quote-unquote screaming plants. The result? Exactly that. The study will now make a catalog of sounds from different plants to see how many, if any, animals are reacting to them. Now, they're not claiming sentience. They're saying the sounds are made by changes in the physical structure of leaves. So it's not vocalization, but it is a sound. Interesting. Good news, a dog lost in the Alaskan wilderness was found by a pilot 9 days later. Lewis and Amber were camping near Carmen Lake over the 4th of July. Coda got spooked and ran off. Lewis said, "We tried to grab his collar. He grabbed his Frisbee and said, 'I'm out of here.' They posted in Facebook groups. That caught the attention of volunteer searcher pilot John Cagerer. John landed his plane about half a mile from where Coda disappeared, and the dog appeared within minutes. John explained, "Here comes the dog, but it wouldn't get any closer than about 10 feet to me." He used some dog treats he keeps in his plane to lure Coda to come close enough, and secured Coda with a rope, got him back on the plane, reunited him with his owners. Amber said that sucker punch in our stomach for 9 days and afterwards was like this huge weight was lifted off your shoulder. Just amazing to have him back home. Do you like cheese? The world's most expensive cheese has sold for $42,232. A Cabriolet cheese aged in a cave for 10 months. It reached top marks in a competition in Spain and was auctioned off for $42,000. The cheese was created by the Angel Diaz Herrero Cheese Factory and purchased by restaurant El Llegar de Kyoto. The cheese, 5 pounds, made with cow's milk, aged for 10 months in the Los Masos cave, which is nearly 5,000 feet above sea level. The Regulatory Council DOP Cabrales named it Best Cheese of the competition.
What if everything you've been taught about happiness is wrong? We chase careers, approval, more stuff, hoping it'll finally make us feel fulfilled, but it never sticks. What if happiness isn't out there, but already inside you, just waiting to be unlocked? Discover the book, The Happiness Experiment. Every person has a unique happiness type, and when you understand yours, everything shifts. You'll stop chasing and start creating joy on your own terms. Discover your happiness type with a free happiness type assessment. Go to myhappinnesstype.com. That's myhappinnesstype.com. It takes just a minute and it might change your life. Then grab your copy of The Happiness Experiment at Books A Million. This isn't just a book, it's a practical framework, a journey inward. It's a tool to help you reconnect with the happiness that's been waiting inside you all along. Pick up The Happiness Experiment and start your happiness experiment today.
I've got Dan Morgan here on the pod. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going good, man. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dan Morgan. I'm an attorney and a managing partner at Morgan & Morgan, which is America's largest injury law firm.
That's pretty awesome. I think I saw a billboard of yours recently that said 20 billion won. 20 billion is an insane number.
Yeah, 20 billion recovered. It's actually, I think, somewhere north, probably closer to 22, 23 after this year. And each year we get bigger and badder and our army grows. So the number will hopefully keep getting bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Awesome. So how does someone get in contact with Morgan & Morgan? What would I do if I got into an accident?
Probably the easiest way is dialing pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. We are always open. Our call center is always waiting to take your call. 24/7, 365.
Wow. Dan Morgan from Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks for having me. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Ah, yes, it's another one of the tropes of this program. Why were you late for work this time? Well, you see, boss, somebody spilled blueberries all over the highway. Police in British Columbia said there was a literal traffic jam on the highway after a pickup truck lost its load of freshly picked blueberries. A white pickup truck had stopped at the corner. When it started up again, some crates of the blueberries fell into the roadway. The cops explained some crates went crashing down on the roadway. Thousands of blueberries spilled out onto Lougheed Highway, creating a sticky mess for vehicles that drove over the fruit. Police officers were called to the juicy incident. They used a shovel to push the blueberries out of the way. The road is now reopened, so get to work, will ya? And those are your 5 good news stories for today. This one was a little funky. I try. You have a good day.
You're great at protecting your own personal information. You probably even use things like two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN. But as much as you try to be in control of how your information is protected, there are lots of places that also have it, and they might not be as careful as you are. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second for identity threats. If your identity is stolen, a LifeLock US-based restoration specialist will help solve identity theft issues on your behalf, guaranteed or your money back. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. You might not be able to control how others handle your personal information, but you can help protect it with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code IHEART or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
There's a time and a place for filet of fish. But breakfast is for sausage biscuits. McDonald's breakfast comes first. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.